Welcome to the Get Real Podcast, your high-octane boost of full-on reality therapy for personal, business, and investing success with your host, Ron Phillips, because somebody's got to tell it like it is.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Get Real Podcast. Ron Phillips and Heather Marchant here. Hey, Heather.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Man, happy Monday is right. The weather is getting good. I mean, it's always good here in Charleston, but it's getting good for the rest of you out there, which is nice, which means I'm going to actually start to go visit some people up north coming up. See if I can go get you guys some more properties, all of you out there who are begging for properties.
Yeah. Something severe.
I mean, it wasn't very many shows ago. We did a show about lending and why we don't really like lenders that we don't know. And that was one of the things, if you'll recall, is that there's just not enough inventory right now, so we can't go irritating. So I'm going to go look for some more inventory. I've already been doing that. I was just in Memphis.
True.
Anyway, I'm going to be going to a few states. Heather is also going to be out there looking for some inventory for you guys. So
next week.
We're gearing up. We're working hard for you guys out there.
We aren't just giving up and saying we don't have enough property. We're working. We're
yeah,
make it happen.
And we're going to talk about something really important today. So we really appreciate you guys listening. We continue to just break milestones with the show, and we're really excited about that. We don't really talk about it very much. I think I've said this before, but Heather, people ask us all the time, why do you do this show? What's the point? What's the purpose? And I tell people what the purpose is, and then they don't believe me what the purpose is. I'm just said it's an outlet for us to be able to share things that we've learned, and hopefully a whole bunch of people. And they're like, but like, how are you monetizing it? And I'm like, well, we're not. And they look at me very confused. So we don't sell things on here, but it's fun. Heather and Heather, you have a good time doing the show.
Surprisingly, I actually thought of it this morning. A client thanked me for the podcasts and how much she's loved them. And I thought back to when Ron asked me if I would co-host some podcasts with him. I don't know if you remember, Ron. I was like, let me get back to you. Give me a few days.
I'm not sure if I'm the right person. And it was funny because just yesterday, Bobby Joe, my gorgeous wife, said, man, you guys are really good together. Like, there's good chemistry on the show. It's fun. It's not boring. And all of that just increased the diameter of my head. That's all it did.
Yeah, but she would be honest, right?
Heather.
She would tell you if we sucked.
She would tell me. She'd be like, why you waste so much time on that show? You guys really aren't very good. We have that kind of relationship. She can tell me things like that.
Yeah, I know she would. I think she'd probably tell me. I don't really
we should have Bobby Joe on the show. Why hasn't Bobby Joe been on the show?
Yeah,
it's like 2 years now. Why hasn't she been on the show?
We should totally do that.
Yes. Show idea right now.
I'm putting it on the list.
Yep. We should have her on to talk about what it's like to be married to an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think there's some people out there who probably benefit from it.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. How to work that out. That'll be a good show.
Well, one thing I'll add that I love about the podcast is I reach all of my clients, at least those that listen, which is most of them, and can update them on current market conditions and in one mass release, which I've worked with hundreds of clients at this point. So reaching out to all of them has become increasingly difficult. So I love the reach that we have to help people and I guess maximize our time. I mean, who can replace time? It's like almost impossible. So
and we've talked about that on the show. It's how do you create more time? It's by leveraging.
Mm-hmm.
You have to leverage to be able to create more time. And it's really funny because that's a pretty good segue into what we're going to talk about today.
That's true. Didn't even try.
It was a long intro, guys, but we are going to talk about something other than all of that other stuff, which is we're going to talk about starting off your day. And everybody's like, oh man, that doesn't sound fun. Doesn't sound interesting. I'm going to tell you this is critically important. And if you've read anything at all about any of the successful people, they all start their day generally in the same way every day.
Yeah.
And it's really, really important. And we're going to get real on it today about it.
I was going to say, Ron, I don't think you woke up to a child needing to have help this morning, a little 4-year-old, right? Or
no, but occasionally I do get woken up. My dog had diarrhea in the middle of the night, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah, I guess they're like a toddler forever. So
except for that didn't have a diaper on, and you just have to clean it up in the middle of the night. That's not good for sleep for anybody.
That's true.
And I have been through that part of life. But you're right, Heather. I mean, there's any number of things that can interrupt us at any point during the day. And it's important. So we'll talk about kind of the importance of and what goes into the mornings. And Heather, if you're cool with it, I didn't ask Heather pre-show, but if you're cool with it, Heather, we'll share what yours is.
Yeah.
And I'll share what mine is. They will likely be different.
Very different. Yeah.
But then we'll share some things. I'll give you some hacks, I guess, because that's the cool woke term now about tips. I'll give you some hacks to make this stuff work a little bit better. You want to go first, Heather? You want me to go
Yeah,
first?
sure. I'll go first.
Knock it out.
Mine is a little less consistent because I have 4 young children. I'm not sure if I've mentioned the number of children I have on the podcast in a while. So my kids are all under age 11. And so sometimes I have to pivot in my morning pretty frequently, actually. So pivot's the really positive word for what the crap that happens in my house in the morning. So, because I try to get up early and beat my kids because I'm like, oh, they wake up around 7:45. So if I wake up and get to my workout at 7, I'll be done. Well, that doesn't always happen because I feel like I bet 95% of the time I've done that, they wake up early and they're like, hey, Mom, what you doing? Can I work out with you? And I'm like, yeah, that's great.
That would be great.
So that is the one awesome. Consistent thing though, is I work out 6 days a week and my workout, I don't mess with it. I learned from a couple of doctors I've been to that for me genetically with some of the stuff I deal with and some of my health problems, working out is more than just a physical thing for me. Well, sorry, more than a mental. It's a biological, getting my liver kickstarted for the day. I feel better. I have more energy throughout the day, which is for most people, but that is like non-negotiable. So in fact, last week was the first time I've ever done this. I bought a stationary bike in my house I got it for a late Christmas gift.
How did I not know this?
Oh, I did. Yeah.
We
I
share
talked to you about
exercise equipment, like people share family picture kind of stuff. So
that's true.
Yeah. Heather and I have an issue and we'll talk about it as with the show goes on. I
love that you love it too. Yeah. So I was sitting on the stationary bike and we had a meeting that we were supposed to both be on. And it was an early morning meeting. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I don't have my workout done and I'm going to finish it. So I turned off my video. I put myself on mute so no one could hear my panting. But at one point I texted Ron and I said, do you hear me panting right now?
Oh my gosh. It was hilarious. I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
I had an AirPod in and I'm like, man, I just don't know if I'm like, I sound like slightly creepy. So a horror film, I don't know. So I did finish. I had like 15 minutes left of my workout. And for me, that's just something I do every day. So I actually didn't work out this morning because I had to take my son to a very early morning doctor's appointment. And so you better believe that tonight I'll be hitting the bike because today's cardio day, right? So I don't miss a day.
Heather seems excited when she says something about cardio. I, on the other hand, hate cardio day.
I don't love it.
If there's a day of the week where I have to do cardio, I am not excited about it.
I rarely miss.
It's really important. So one of the things that Heather said, I'm going to touch on in just a minute, right after I share what my morning routine is. And my morning routine, you can literally set your watch by it and how long each thing lasts. And I don't time any of it. It just kind of is.
Really?
I'm doing it for so long that I know how long it is. The only exception to that is my workout. And that's because it changes all the time, especially now because I hired a strength coach and my workouts are going way long now. It's insane, actually.
So I went too long on the workout thing. Let me just mention a few other things before you say yours. I do always take a few minutes for prayer. I usually listen to a book while I work out. Ron taught me that actually. I always thought that was not something you just listen to music or whatever, but I do home workouts most of the time. So I'm often following an instructor. So I've just done the workouts so many times now. I mute them so many times. I mute them and listen to a book. And then last, I'll do some inspirational study, some scripture study, or like a talk or something while I'm getting ready for the day. So those are things that fuel my morning, but my schedule is a little relaxed than yours. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't finish very well.
No, you're fine. That's really good. And my schedule is so the same every day that if I fly from Charleston to California, I will literally wake up at the same time in California, which is not ideal.
Not
It's
cool.
just not ideal at all. And I'll start my day and I'll be done with my morning before anybody gets up and before I would normally get up. It's that,
I'm jealous of it. Let's be honest.
So my kids are all grown. My youngest he's going to be 18. So, I have no problem with the other part of this that Heather does, but I used to. Now I wake up, I have 30 minutes of something spiritual. And like Heather, I change that up all the time. Sometimes I actually read, which I know sounds crazy.
Words,
if anybody knows it, yeah, like an actual book.
I'm the same.
Most of the time I'm listening to something. And that usually lasts for about 30 minutes. After that, I start my workout. And my workouts can take between an hour and 2 hours. And during that time, I am audiobooking the whole time. So I listen to a lot of books.
Way more than I do. It's impressive.
And that happens every single day, every day. And I don't put really anything else in my brain other than those things in the morning before I start my day. And I really don't do well if I get off my schedule. Occasionally, I'll have to get up to go to the airport early in the morning. And my day just doesn't go. It just doesn't go right.
Yeah.
It is crazy how all of that stuff goes together. I really believe that you need something spiritual, something physical, and then something, I was going to say mental, but something intellectual, right? Those three things, I think they're necessary to start your day right. And Heather touched on something that was really cool, that working out does something different. It's not just to, get ripped or whatever it is, right? Get strong. Those are byproducts, but it really like jumpstarts your whole body, everything in your body. And when you're doing that coupled with something intellectual, after having done something spiritual, the three of those things together, it just does something. And I don't really know how to put it into words, but I get I'll text Heather. She's still sleeping, of course.
Yeah.
I'll text Heather ideas that I'm having, and they're coming because I've kickstarted everything that way. The best ideas I come up with, the best visionary ideas I come up with come in that time period of the day, almost without exception. And it's because those three things are going together. And most everybody whose books I've read have been successful. I think, Heather, you probably agree. They all have some kind of morning routine, and they all have some portion of those three things, maybe not in that order, maybe not stated the same way, but they do.
Yeah.
And that's
true.
how important they are.
I think one book I'd like to mention is Rest. That's what the book's called, Rest. I'll have to look up who the author
book.
is.
Actually, Heather recommended that to me, and it's a really good book.
Yeah. It was really interesting to me because it was backing up my experience, but also giving me permission to take time to rest and the benefits of rest. And this isn't sleep rest. That's what I always thought rest was, like sitting, doing nothing, sleeping. Like that's what rest is. And he brought in exercise, taking a walk, like those were your rest from having your mental engagement, I guess. So it looks like the book is by SOOJUNG-KIM Pang.
Good luck with that. But it does have like a chair on the front of it.
Yes. Yeah.
If I recall. So let's talk about some hacks, tips for how to make this happen. Because one of the things I think a lot of people do, and I know I've done this, Heather, I'm sure you've done this, is where you go, somebody wants you to do something during the time when you would normally do this. And you're like, okay, cool. I can just change my schedule around. I can do that. And then I can work out and can sit down and read after that, whatever the case may be. Right.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you every single thing that can go wrong in your day after that will go wrong. That's what will happen. So if you want everything to actually work right, then you just have to stick to it. I don't know how to more strongly say this, but every single time when I've said, I'll just work out in the afternoon, never happens. It literally never happens.
Yeah, it's true. I think if you schedule it, sometimes, I have to be flexible with my schedule, but it's on my calendar, right? So it's a block of time. So if someone else manages your calendar, it's on there. So they're not going to schedule something during that time. And for myself, one thing that helps me is I will usually wake up and I have my workout clothes on instead of like getting dressed for the day. So I get dressed in my workout clothes. So, I mean, to go and change out of my workout clothes and put on regular clothes when I haven't worked out is a sucky feeling.
Yeah. There's a hack. You're like, oh no, man, I didn't even do this. That's a mind game. I like that one.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about that one, but I guess I do that. And then I'll sit around for quite a little bit after my workout too. I'm like, I just don't.
I know. I like the smell.
This whole coronavirus thing, man. I'm just like, I don't have to see anybody. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Good point.
So hack number 1, plan it and don't waver from it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we already said there are some things called children and dogs that will interrupt this. So Heather's giving you hack number 2, and that is get up, put your workout clothes on. And for the spiritual piece and the intellectual piece, like put those things on your desk, right where you've got to work. So you have to actually move them off of your keyboard to do any work. Those things should just happen, period. Any more tips for moms, dads out there with little kids?
Oh, so much. So I just have to carve out time when it works. So I will listen to a book while I'm like waiting in the carpool line. I don't do the carpool line very often anymore because my husband's not working, but he's backpacking this week. So that's why it's fresh in my mind. I will listen to it while I'm just doing everyday chore type stuff around the house. But I'll also, when I'm just checking my email and stuff, I will be able to listen to something spiritual or uplifting or a book while I drive. I don't really listen. I love music on a deep level, but I listen to music way less frequently than I used to. I know I hope the day comes where I listen to music as much as I used to, but I will use it a lot in my AirPods. That's also something that's super helpful if you're home with kids, because if they're engaged in doing something, I can turn on a book while they're around me, right? And I still can listen and glean from it. And while I'm getting ready is when I often do the spiritual stuff. So I don't spend a lot of time getting ready. I'm not a high maintenance person that way, but even if it's 10, 15 minutes, I have a like scripture on or a talk or something. Like I have a shower speaker. So I'm doing something like that. I have to take advantage of every minute.
Yep. And when the kids come in and they want to work out with you, you can work out with them, right? I mean, it's not going to go the same way as it normally would, but
no. Go ahead.
Showing them, I think something like that, that you have a morning routine is beneficial. Because they know.
Yeah.
And here's one other hack, and that is that let people know.
Yeah.
Let people know. Because for me on the East Coast, it works really well. But when I lived on Mountain Time, it was not the same. People would be bothering me during my workout time. And one of the hacks that I have is that my phone is on Do Not Disturb until after my workouts. So it starts in the evenings. I set it in the evenings to shut off at 9 p.m. because no one should need me after 9 p.m. And it just doesn't alert me after 9. And it doesn't alert me until after 7 in the morning. So I'm done with my workout. Well, not now. I might have to adjust it now because
early riser.
I am a very early riser. And that's another thing that I've learned is that if I get up early, no one is up.
Yeah.
I can do my thing and I can have my time. And then everybody starts to assault me after that time. And that's okay. Now I'm fine with it because I've had my time. I've been able to decompress and get ready for the day. And no one has interrupted it. And partially that's due to the fact that I arranged it that way. So when you have kids, that's something that you can't control. But those of you out there who can control it, I'm just giving you a really good way to control it. Turn the stupid phone off. There's a really cool setting on every one of the smartphones where you can turn it on Do Not Disturb and you can time it. And so mine is timed. And it doesn't interrupt me.
Oh, I didn't know you like set a timer in it, or you just put the times in.
I put the times in, right?
Okay, I do that.
These times every day, it's off. It doesn't alert me anything, and that is really, really helpful because I don't want anybody. If someone send you something that is important, right? During that time,
Mm-hmm.
odds are, if you check it, you're going to be like, oh, I'll just go do this real quick.
Yeah.
And then you have screwed yourself for the rest of the day. Ask me how I know. That's what happens. That's why I turned it off. And guess what? People know. They can text me during that time, but I'm not going to reply to them. So
that's a good tip. My workouts are pretty short. They're like no more than 45 minutes. So I'm all in and short. So I could do a better job at that for sure.
So, I mean, those are some pretty good tips, guys. Just when you start to plan your day, another really good book that we've been on the book kick, but we'll keep telling you guys about them. Another great book is called Miracle Morning. When you plan your morning out, plan it out and then just do it. Mm-hmm. Just make it happen. Yeah. Everybody has the same amount of time. Nobody's busier than anybody else. Just make it happen, right?
Something we've done recently in our office that I'll mention, I guess this could be a hack as far as the inspirational or motivational part and intellectual, is we have a shared Audible account. I don't even know that you could do that, but yeah, our team has shared Audible. So when I purchase books, the team has them. And so everyone's reading more and gaining more from it, which is awesome. So we're going to start a book club, I think. We're going to talk about a book once a month or something.
I think we should. Well, hopefully this was helpful, guys. I'm telling you, this is not something that sounds terribly glamorous. It's not something that you would think applies to business really, or, life, because, we've been living life our whole lives and maybe some of you haven't been doing this stuff. I'm here to tell you this is a game changer for your life. So if you have never tried it, try it. Give it a month. See what happens, right? If you've been doing it, but you've been doing a lackluster job of it, use some of these tips that we've given you guys.
Refocus.
And make it happen, all right? Mm-hmm. It's really not any more difficult than that, but it will alter your life. I promise.
Agreed.
And with that, I think we can call this one.
Short and sweet, but powerful.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, appreciate you. If you have anything you want us to talk about, email us, invest@rpcinvest.com, and like the show, share the show. We appreciate all that, guys. Till next week, get out there and make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the Get Real Podcast. To subscribe and for more information, including a list of all episodes, go to getrealestatesuccess.com.